we spend 10 times a year, we also pay for their transportation.
So I was told,
I would just respectfully suggest as a parent at Colson High School that we look at this as an opportunity for a cut.
You can't.
Why?
Because state law says that any student has the right to go to a vocational school, and you must pay for that student to go to vocational school. That is a state law, not this district's law.
I understand. I understand that you're making yourself very clear. I understand. Wow.
Start at the freeholder one. Yep.
Okay, so
they established the vocational school, but then any child can go. Even if you offer the same program here, that child is.
No, I understand. I really do. I really do understand. Okay.
I'm saying more for the public there, for you. Understand.
I appreciate that. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see what you all do choose in terms of what you decide to cut. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, another question.
Yes.
Come on now.
Cindy O'Brien, Colsac. I just wanted to echo a little bit of what the woman from Howell said. I looked at the resolution that came through from Freehold Township, and what concerns me most about it is that the cuts really fall into that general ed category, which is where my kids fall, which are your honors, your academic classes throughout the district. And it just seems that those kids keep getting hammered over and over and over again because there's so many mandates, there's so many requirements on one side, and we never touch the programs and things on this side. So it's those kids smack dab in the middle who are really the core of your district who keep getting whacked. And as a parent, I'm so tired of watching this happen. There's got to be something that you can do. I mean, those are suggested cuts. They are not mandated cuts. I know it now goes to the commissioner. I'm hoping that it's less than the 4.5. But I really think that it needs to be relooked at because once again, those kids, their classes, you know, we're talking 35, 40 kids in a class. It's really, when you have an honors, you know, an AP calculus class, 35 kids in that class really makes it almost not worth taking. So it's really time for you to look at that general ed kid, because that kid just keeps taking it. And as a parent of those kids, I'm tired of it too. And then I also had a couple of questions regarding, do we have an interim lined up at all? If Mr. Wowser is leaving in 35 days, do we have an interim lined up? And by law, you have to have an interim. So I'm wondering if you all have, I mean, there's no name on the agenda tonight. I don't see anything listed. Is there anything in the works with that?
Yes, there is. We'll answer all the questions at the end.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody else?
Somebody else? Shannon. Oh.
Hi, my name is Shannon McIntosh Brownstein, Freehold Borough teacher and Freehold resident as well. I just had a quick question for the board. I was curious if you had, because obviously there's going to be cuts regardless, no matter what, you know, comes back, there are going to be cuts. I'm wondering if you have a list of priorities of where the cuts are going to occur, where the first cuts are going to occur, where the second cuts are going to occur, where the deepest cuts are going to occur. Is it going to be in extracurriculars? Is it going to be in class size? Is it going to be in athletics? Is it going to be educational staff, electives, science labs? Where are those initial cuts coming from? Where are the secondary cuts coming from? Where are the tertiary cuts coming from? You know, it would be nice if you could share at least some of that information with the public so that we can better prepare ourselves for, you know, the days ahead.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. We do have a couple of questions. Go ahead.
I'd like to answer a couple questions and statements. First of all, for Mrs. Helen Hopper. I know Helen, and I am not going to use any derogatory language whatsoever. So Helen, you know me a little bit, and I know you. And I was making a joke when the lady called me Mr. Heshy, because down south, that's what people say when they talk to somebody. They don't use their last name. I know you know my last name. I don't know if the other lady knows my last name. I thought she thought my last name was Heshy. I don't ever ask people to call me Mr. Moses. I think if you knew me better, you would know that. I always tell people to call me Heshy. I don't like when people talk down to me, and I don't like it when people talk up to me either. I never did as a teacher either. So I wanted to clear that up. I mean, I don't care if people call me Mr. Heshy. I just would like them to know what my last name is, that's all, if they care to use that. As far as Mr. Sage goes, I don't know, I guess maybe he has a problem or doesn't know me at all. For 35 years, I cared nothing else but about the kids. So on the board, I wouldn't change just because I'm on the board. I still feel that I'm a teacher. As far as the money that we transferred, a lot of that money went for legal bills for special ed kids.
I'll follow this way.
Oh, I thought something was so for Mr. Sage to question where my priorities lie, let me make sure that I make this very clear and use really simple language. Mr. Sage, I care only about the kids, about the schools, and then about the teachers and about the coaches. And basically in that order. Number two, no one in the public is going to tell me how to vote. If they don't like the way I vote, in 3 years, they're going to nominate somebody new. So it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do what's best for the kids. Maybe I don't satisfy your special interests, but I don't care about that. I care about the kids. And this whole budget thing is killing me. Because I don't want any kids to pay. Because if you went to some of the meetings with the mayors, they're all about getting back at the teachers and punishing them. And the only people they are punishing are the kids. Period. The kids are being punished. And then we're put in a position where I don't know what people expect us to do. I don't want to cut sports. I don't want to put 35 kids in a class. I don't want to do any of that stuff. But it comes to a point where I think everybody's going to pay. Sports, size of classrooms, teachers being let go, us not filling positions up at central administration. I know people keep saying we're so top-heavy. Well, take a look. September 1. It's not going to be top-heavy up there.
30 seconds, Mr.
Thank you very much. So all I'm saying is that, you know, if you want to question, do I have any ulterior motives? I will tell you right now, none. None. And Helen, you can always call me Ash. Or you can call me Al.
Okay, we had a couple of, Chris, please.